It is Wednesday, August 20th here on Damon Bruce Plus, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. Welcome back. It's wonderful to have you here again. You could be hanging out anywhere right now on the internet, but you choose to do it right here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so very much. I hope you're subscribing. I hope you're liking, doing all of those things. My gosh, memberships are available. If you really want to get nuts, thank you so much for being here. You know, everybody's looking for a good recommendation. What should I be watching? What should I be streaming? Where should I put my attention? You know, I only have so much attention to divide among my job, my family, 15 different streaming services, the whole bunch of news shows that are coming up. Where I have very little time. Where should I put my precious attention? Well, I was joking just yesterday with John Lund, who was nice enough to come on the channel, about how the last thing we needed was a Cowboys documentary, how the last thing we needed, and maybe the single most overcovered, overblown sports entity of my lifetime gets way too much coverage for being pretty football irrelevant for more part of the year than not. You know, I mean, there is an abject overload when it comes to Cowboys coverage. So what do I need? An 8-part Netflix documentary for? We talked about that yesterday. Curiosity got the best of me. And while I was sitting around watching, I had some clerical work to do. I had some letters. I had some emails to send. I had a couple checks to write. So I'm like in a clerical work mode. And I put on Netflix. America's Team, the Gambler and his Cowboys, is outstanding. I can't pretend I don't love it. If you want 90s nostalgia just injected directly into your veins, even though you use a Cowboys syringe to get it in there, it's pretty damn good. It is really good, as a matter of fact. The guys who put this together did a hell of a job. And I'm telling you, if you don't want a whole bunch of Cowboys propaganda, if you don't want to relive Jerry buying the team and Jimmy Johnson and all that stuff, you don't want to relive any of that, I got one standalone episode for you. If you are a 49ers fan, you have to see the third episode of America's Team, the Gambler and his Cowboys. It is, without trying to be, the best 49ers documentary you've seen maybe in your lifetime. Now, it really only examines the 49ers through the prism of the 1992 NFC title game. But the episode 3, this is the standalone. If you are here, I'm guessing you're a 49ers fan. If you are a 49ers fan, you probably don't want to watch a Cowboys documentary. Watch just episode 3. Actually, I recommend you watch it all. I'm about 4 episodes in now. Episode 3 is a love letter to the San Francisco 49ers. It is really, really good. It's really good. It opens with Carmen Policy, talking about the greatness of the 49ers and how nobody was coming into Candlestick to beat them that year, and how this really was a heavyweight fight to the point where, as far as everybody involved in the NFC title game was ready to declare themselves champions of the world when that NFC title game ended, because that's how irrelevant the NFC looked at the AFC at that time. It opens with Carmen Policy just talking about 49ers excellence. You know, there is something about Jerry Jones throughout all these episodes that I've watched so far. I'm going to tell you right now, Jerry Jones is an arrogant man, but he has earned his arrogance. He really has. Jerry Jones bet on himself and won big over and over and over and over again. Now, is he an arrogant buffoon in an awful lot of ways? Yes, he is. Is he also a charming devil? Yes, he is. I love to hate Jerry Jones. I really do. And I think that this will make you feel the same way. Also, we forget, because he's now been so spit-washed in his media days, Jimmy Johnson was a psychopath. As a head coach, Jimmy Johnson was brought in to be a savior, won one game in his first year, and just didn't care who he was coaching, whether they liked him or didn't like him. He was savage. He wore out his welcome in a successful locker room, much less the unsuccessful locker rooms. Jimmy Johnson was an animal. And you forget about that because, again, he's such a nice grandfatherly figure now, you know, the hair that's never messed up. Jimmy Johnson, oh, what a sweetheart. Jimmy Johnson, the head coach, was a psychopath. Speaking of psychopaths, Charles Haley was an actual psychopath. He wasn't trying to be crazy. It came natural. Charles Haley and Jerry Rice, who was in this, says, look, man, trading Charles Haley is the dumbest thing we ever did as a franchise. I don't care what that guy's problems were. We should have worked around him. That's how much of a beast he was. You got Steve Young saying that he's never been more sore, never been more hurt than he was coming out of that game. They really focus on the 1992 NFC title game, which, by the way, the field at the Stick, oh my God, it was awful. I mean, beautiful. There's old Candlestick memories. There's so many member berries, and there's so much nostalgia wrapped into all of this. It was really outstanding. And I'm telling you, the way that this is shot, the way that this happens. So you know that the 49ers, spoiler alert here, you know that the 49ers lose the NFC title game that year. You know that they lost it. But as you're watching this documentary, the way that they go through this game, you'll get tricked. You'll be like, have I got this right? Did they win this game? I think maybe the Niners did win this game. They don't win this game. But the documentary is outstanding. The look inside of the 49ers is outstanding. It's really, I guess you can't tell the story of the Dallas Cowboys without involving the 49ers. And episode 3, which is entitled, How About Them Cowboys? Every single 49er fan needs to watch this. If you are a Niners fan, you have to watch episode 3 of America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. It is a love letter to the 49ers, and it is wrapped in so many warm memories that you will just be like, wow, I forgot about that. And again, you're going to think that they're actually going to win the game right up until Alvin Harper makes that huge play where he catches a slant and takes it almost 80 yards to the house. And that's where the Cowboys basically knew that they were going to the Super Bowl right there. And then they would have back-to-back Super Bowls. Michael Irvin, when he is just in this, Michael Irvin's one of the greatest talkers in the history of sports. He's fantastic in this. Michael Irvin says, I was born to be a wide receiver. When I came out of my mama, the doctor tried to slap me and I caught his hands. He's just fantastic. I really, really recommend to you. I mean, as much as any show, I think we've all earned enough trust with each other here in the chat. The chat has so often steered me correctly in terms of what should I be watching. Hopefully, I have always steered the chat correctly and what you should be watching. And, we need to delete that. That is, you shouldn't be calling me right now. I'm on the air, goodness sakes. You have to see it. You have to see episode 3, America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. It is a love letter to the 49ers, and even though it's a Cowboys documentary, it's one of the best 49ers documentaries you'll ever see. So make sure you watch episode 3, and if you want to take it, you want to start with 1 and 2, you'll be happy that you did. You want to keep going, you'll be happy that you did. I'm about halfway through this. I'm halfway through episode 4. It's really good. Highly, highly recommend to you, my good friends, that you watch this, starting with episode 3. Just have it as a standalone if you're a big 49ers fan. Again, it is awesome to have you here. Thank you so much. By the way, Chef A says, Damon, The Wire changed me forever. Yeah, seriously. Chef A had never seen The Wire. We said, Chef, you got to see The Wire. Chef saw The Wire, and there you go. Damon, your weekly interviews with Michael Irvin were radio gold. 95.7 hasn't had Michael Irvin on ever since. Yeah, well, budgets are gone. That's all I can tell you. Budgets are gone. Joe loved that Michael Irvin voice. Did you like my Michael Irvin voice? What was crazy, there was a point in that whole run with Michael where we became friendly to the point where our families exchanged Christmas cards. I get a Michael Irvin Christmas card. He gets one from our family too. There was a minute there where we were talking on the phone together, Michael Irvin and I, and whenever it would call, it would just, on my caller ID, it would write Playmaker, Hall of Fame. And I'd just be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting a call from Michael. And we would talk about something. It's usually Niner related, Debo something, because he knew that I was all over that story. He tried to give me some information about Debo one time. And it was just so cool to be getting phone calls from Michael Irvin. I would put him on speaker. I'd be like, honey, listen to this. Come on. I'm getting voicemails from Michael Irvin. Incredible. So anyways, he's just great. I miss talking to him every week. Again, there's a lot I miss about radio. By the way, today is National Radio Day, a day that I would used to want to wax poetic about. And I just, they killed my love for radio. Radio killed my love for radio. I loved it more than anybody, but they didn't love me back. So here we are. But yeah, it's hard for me to get excited about National Radio Day. I will tell you, though, if you are a deep San Francisco radio insider, which some of you are, I'm going to be having lunch tomorrow with the barista. So there you go. Me and Andrew Stern. He's now left radio after about 20 years of being the lead engineer over there. We're going to get together for a long overdue lunch. I haven't seen the barista in years. So that should be fun. Anyway, it is awesome. Absolutely awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for stopping on by. Hit like and subscribe if you would, please. That certainly helps the algorithm. Kiss this show on the forehead. And I want you to give my man Ike just a kiss right on his big bald head. And when you do that, you're going to say, geez, you kind of smell like sandwiches. I think I want a sandwich. My man Ike has a sandwich for you that is absolutely delicious, tailor-made just for you. Whatever you are wanting in a sandwich, believe me, he's got it for you. You want to go crazy on your sandwich, he's got that. You want to keep it simple, stupid, you can do that too. And if you do it right now during National Sandwich Month, I keep on telling you to sign up for that Love Rewards program. He just put $3 in everyone's account, $3 off your next order. If you are in the Love Rewards program, which is easy to sign up for. It's free to sign up for, and you absolutely should. Hopefully there's an Ike's around you. It is National Sandwich Month, so celebrate accordingly. And as always, when you're celebrating accordingly, go to the Dubliner West portal. Love Kenny and John. Those guys are the best bartenders in all of San Francisco. They got the best Guinness in all of San Francisco. You get yourself to the Dubliner, and you're going to be like, okay, this bar, it's perfect. This is what I want in a bar. Looks right, sounds right, lit right. Volume's right. It's all right at the Dubliner. It's a bar that ain't even trying to be great, and it is great because of that. Get yourself to the Dubliner West portal. Get yourself there, I don't know, for a Giants game, for a Valkyrie game, for the 49ers final tune-up on Saturday night against the Chargers. Get there. Have a good time at the Dubliner, and tell them, as always, that the Plus sent you. They love hearing that. Make sure you tell them that. Let's see. What is this? Is the big red heart the new like button? Is there a big red heart? Can you touch a big red heart? I just gave myself a heart. How you feeling about hearts, everybody? I don't think we need to be exchanging heart emojis. Just hit like and subscribe. That's what I really want. But yeah, maybe just hit thumbs up too. That'll really help things go if you hit the thumbs up. So look, I hope you will agree that the beauty of this show is it never wastes your time. We've got a couple of things to talk about today. It's going to be a little bit of a quick one because there's just not a lot going on. We are waiting for football to start. That is basically, we are in a holding pattern. And in this holding pattern, all you want is no one else to get hurt around the San Francisco 49ers to go into the season as healthy as possible. It hasn't been the most healthy as possible tune-up for this year. I saw Nick Wagner yesterday down in Santa Clara as the 49ers got back on the practice field. He had some good news. He said there's actually some good injury news in the form of guys returning to the 49ers practice field. Corner Renardo Green, safety Jason Pinnock, running back Isaac Guerrendo, defensive end Sam Aquinu, defensive tackle Jordan Elliott, Nick Bosa, all were back on the practice field in some capacity. Bosa and Pinnock didn't participate in team drills. They're not doing one-on-ones. They don't want to get anybody else hurt right now. It's just basically glorified walkthrough, getting ready for week. Yeah, you're getting ready for the Chargers, kind of. But more than anything else, you just want to shuffle the deck to make sure that nobody gets hurt in that game. And then you start really getting ready for Seattle in week 1. Still, as guys get healthy, there are still more than a handful of guys unavailable out there, not practicing yesterday. Mac Jones, Jauan Jennings, Jordan Watkins, Upton Stout, Trey Brown, Richie Grant, Jordan James, Mykel Williams, CJ West, Dominic Pooney, Ben Barch, Trent Williams, Kevin Givens, Fabian Moreau, Corey Kiner, Robert Beal Jr., Stone Blanton. Those guys weren't able to practice. Patrick Taylor Jr., he's going to need surgery on his now fractured shoulder. His season is over. He goes to not coming back from it, IR. Corey Kiner, again, a running back that, is trying really hard to make this team, has been impressive for sure. Well, he's a little bit behind the eight ball now because of a severe high ankle sprain. And Shanahan said that, he thinks a minor high ankle sprain is usually about a 4-week injury. He's saying that Corey Kiner's got a severe ankle sprain. So if he thinks a minor high ankle is 4 weeks, what's a severe ankle? So that's just, not great news for Corey Kiner. But all of these are hopefully injuries that with 10, 15 more days of recovery time baked into them, these guys will be back and ready to go in week 1. So I really don't care anymore about who looks good in 11-on-11s. I don't care about how crisp the connection between Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall or George Kittle might be. I don't care about, Garendo's back and he's got fresh legs and he's looking really good. I don't care. Nobody else is allowed to get hurt between now and the start of the year. That is what's important. And if you have to play vendors in the final preseason game, like Nate Sudfeld is back. I'm guessing he's playing an awful lot of game 3 because this team can't even afford to get Carter Bradley hurt in the third preseason game. So you're going to see a whole bunch of ain't going to be here's, I think, in the third and final preseason game. And that's the right thing to do. It's the right way for the 49ers to go about it. It really is. Less is more from a participation standpoint. The whole iron sharpens iron, forget about that now. You should have been sharpened by now. Cheers. What is going on with Jauan Jennings? As I said to Kruger a week ago on Wake Up, the trade that you were going to make probably should have happened 3 weeks ago. You didn't do it, and you're kind of painted into the corner of you now need to give Jauan whatever he wants to make sure that this thing is ready to go in week 1. It's time for the 49ers to make a decision on Jauan Jennings. Are you going to bring him back? Are you going to pay him right? Are you going to make it so where, he's just got to be ready to go. And if he doesn't want to get ready to go at the price point that you are willing to extend to him, then trade him. But do something. The twiddling of the Jauan Jennings thumbs, this got to end. It's got to end. Calf injury, holdout, I don't even care anymore. He either needs to be in the picture or out of the picture. That's what the 49ers need to do. The ambiguity, the he might be's really aren't valuable anymore. You need some concrete decisions. So hopefully the 49ers have a concrete decision to show us on Jauan Jennings soon. The other thing that was sort of being bandied about, if you will, there's talk of maybe moving an upcoming Super Bowl to London. Let's take a look at that. Because when you think of Americana, right? When you think of this is what our nation cares about, nothing tops the Super Bowl. It is the premier American day, probably bigger than the 4th of July. It is a celebration of all things America, from the commercials to the consumerism to the halftime show, to a 9-hour-long pregame show and a 5-hour-long postgame show. It is pure American excess. And we love it. And we love it. Should the Super Bowl ever be in another country? The easy-to-reach answer is no, probably not. It really shouldn't be. It should be on American soil. It shouldn't be somewhere else. But why? Why? If it's here, is that game now all of a sudden more accessible to the, unwashed masses than it might have been had it been anywhere else? Not really. Joe Pampliano writes a great Substack, and he wrote about the Super Bowl possibly moving to London. And he says, look, the Super Bowl is more than a football game. It's America's most watched ritual, a hybrid of sport, spectacle, and cultural theater that has come to represent the United States on the world stage, which is why the notion of staging it in London just doesn't sit right with me. And there's a part of me that I agrees with that, right? There really is. There's a part of me that agrees with that. He said for nearly 2 decades, the NFL has enticed international audiences with regular season games in cities like London and Mexico City, steadily expanding its reach. And in 2025, that campaign now has a record 7 fixture dates overseas. 7 international games, 3 more at Wembley. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is going to be jumping with NFL action this upcoming season as well. Joe goes on to say that the door has now been pushed even further by Peter Mandelson, who is Britain's ambassador to the United States, who this week at the Chicago Council on Global Affairs said that he is lobbying for London to stage the first Super Bowl outside of America. Well, let's talk about that and what that would really mean for you. For the vast majority of everyone watching this live stream, whether you're watching live or you're watching this later on this evening or another time or another date, for the most of you, and I don't mean this as an insult, the Super Bowl will never be more than something on TV that you're watching. I have been to Super Bowls. Not through my own design. I was paid to be there. I was covering the team in the game, so it was a work trip for me. There's no way I could afford to go to a Super Bowl, and that is the world that I'm guessing the vast majority of people watching this right now are living in that same world too. The Super Bowl isn't just for the 1%, it's for the 1/2 of 1%. The Super Bowl is an elite, uber expensive, unrelenting financial expenditure for anybody to go to. Between the guaranteed hotel dates that you need to book to be in that Super Bowl city, to trying to get into your restaurant, every single thing, the charges get jacked. It is not inexpensive to go to a Super Bowl, so much so that 99.999% of America wasn't going anyway. I don't care if the Super Bowl is happening in the stadium that you live next door to. It's going to be hard to get in there for anybody without an ungodly amount of money. So to host a Super Bowl, more than anything else, what you need is infrastructure. You need a football field, you need a football stadium, you need all the accommodations for all the media and all the fans that are going to the game. You need, state-of-the-art interneting and all that good stuff. Guess what? London's got all of that. As a matter of fact, some of those London stadiums are so superior to the ones that we have over here. You might be putting the Super Bowl in a better stadium than it will be in this year's Super Bowl at Levi's Stadium. So the fact that the Super Bowl is basically an unobtainable ticket for the vast majority of everybody anyways, and will never be anything more than a TV show, what do you care where the TV show is coming from? Seriously. What do you care? Like when you're watching a movie, do you really care what studio makes that movie? Do you really care if it was filmed in Los Angeles or somewhere in Vancouver or wherever they're filming things these days? You don't care. It's a TV show that's on your TV. You're going to push a button and you're going to have access to it. And where it's coming from, it really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Now, there are some people who will be like, no, this is ours. You can't give it away. This is our thing. The Super Bowl is decidedly American. We can't give it away. Look at it this way. The only thing more decidedly American than the Super Bowl would be making more money off the Super Bowl somewhere else than right here. And the minute the NFL crunches its numbers and says, we cannot alienate our audience and make even more money than ever before on this Super Bowl, that's when it'll go to London. This will not be a test of American heartstrings. This will not be an apple pie America check or anything like that. This is straight up consumerism. If the NFL finds out that it can make more money with the Super Bowl in London, it's going to London. That simple. The NFL is unrelenting when it comes to profit, growing the game, bigger global audience. The NFL has basically saturated America. There's nowhere left to grow in America. The NFL is the number one item everywhere on every shelf in every American state. Maybe we can sell more NFL if we put a Super Bowl over in London to all these limey SOBs. That's the way the NFL is going to look at it. And the minute it makes more sense to do it and it's more profitable to do it, they're going to do it. And what will that mean to you? Well, the Super Bowl will start at the same time in the afternoon that it always has, or it'll be pushed back an hour or up an hour. So it won't be like, oh, there is now a time difference that is screwing up my Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. Every single one of your favorite broadcasters, the Super Bowl's not all of a sudden going to be walking around with crooked teeth and a Cockney accent. If you put it over in London, it'll still be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman doing the game or whatever. So it really won't look different. It won't feel different. It won't sound different. It'll just be another Super Bowl that you're watching on TV. Again, the Super Bowl's not easily accessible to anybody. So let's not pretend that, like, hey, I was going to the Super Bowl, but then they put it in London, and now I can't afford to go to the Super Bowl. If you can afford to go to the Super Bowl, you can afford to go to London. So this will price out not a single soul who is actually going to go to the game in the first place. We got some supers coming on in today. Thank you so much for the supers. Always. What do we got? Damon, I saw your post on X, and I'm on episode 3 now. Good. Joe, you're watching. The episode 3, just Niner member berries, man. Serious Niner member berries. Anthony Lick Scorpion. Damon, your hot take on 49ers yearly injuries? Cheers. What? I don't know what to tell you. It's an epidemic. How about this? Wesley became a member here today. Coaches, Wes B. Ball. Wesley, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for supporting. And he says, we need a 49ers documentary like the Cowboys documentary. I think there's something out actually like in the works right now about a big 49ers documentary. But I'm telling you, Wesley, while they were making this deep dive Cowboys documentary, they accidentally made a 49ers documentary for but one of the episodes at the very least. Episode 3 called How About Them Cowboys. So Jimmy Johnson up on a table going, how about them Cowboys? That was not after the Super Bowl. That was in the visiting locker room of Candlestick. I'm telling you, just the views of Candlestick that you get in this, just the look at Candlestick and the aerial shots and the exterior shots and the interior shots. God, I miss Candlestick. What a cockeyed, dumpy little masterpiece it really was. The field at Candlestick was a player in that game. The field at Candlestick, where they resodded in between the hash marks, was playable. If you were outside the hash marks, it was like playing in quicksand. I mean, they just don't make NFL fields like that anymore. And that's probably a good thing for the game. But man, there was nothing like a playoff game at Candlestick. And you can see it. You could see it in this documentary. That place had some teeth on it. That place was nasty in a good way, a really, really good way. Crute and Kipe still talk about Candlestick during some Giants broadcasts. Well, they need to talk about anything other than the actual Giants right now, so don't begrudge them that. You can tell how much they even miss Candlestick, even though it was probably better for the Niners than it was the Giants. Oh, Candlestick was a brutal place to play baseball. Brutal. But guys still have some nostalgia attached to it, for sure. The football nostalgia in that place can never be reduplicated, not anywhere. Like they could have just rebuilt a modern Candlestick and it still wouldn't have been that. It's like Yankee Stadium. Like as soon as Yankee Stadium moved next door into the parking lot where old Yankee Stadium was, even though it's still Yankee Stadium and it's about where it's supposed to be, it isn't the same. It is not the same. But look, when it comes to the Super Bowl going to London, here is my hot take. And a lot of people aren't going to like that. I don't care. I really don't care. If they were to move the Super Bowl to London, it wouldn't affect my feelings about the NFL, America, the Super Bowl, nothing. It wouldn't. You weren't going anyways. I wasn't going anyways. I'm going to watch this thing from my couch. As long as it's on my TV, that's all I care about for the most part. Great to see you out here today. Look, the regular Ryan saying I froze at Candlestick Giants games in July and roasted at Candlestick Niner games in December. Yeah, our weird climate out here. When it comes to being at a Super Bowl, I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to being at any football game, you have the best seat to a football game on your couch. Football, the reason why it's so successful, it is the ultimate television sport. It's made to be better enjoyed on your own TV than it is in person. In person, the only thing you can get is some atmosphere and some camaraderie with fellow fans. But an actual best chance to watch the game and understand what's happening, you need to be on TV. I don't go to Levi's Stadium for a number of reasons. Chief among them is I do a better job covering the 49ers from right here in my home studio than I do from the press box at Levi's Stadium or Candlestick or the old Oakland Coliseum. It is easier to cover a game from right here. It's easier to watch it. It's easier to understand it. It's easier to freeze frame and rewind and, jog throughout the game so you don't miss anything. Where in person, you got none of that. Absolutely none of that. Chef A, damn it. Now I want some crumpets. Let's go. A little blood sausage. Put on some Beatles. Let's do it. Just a little touch of baseball before we go anywhere else today. We have we got a couple of things to get into here still before we get to today in history. First of all, the Giants lost 5-1 to the Padres last night. Petco Park saw more fans run on the field, 2 of them, than Giants scored runs on the field at Petco, 1. Alex Pavlovich with the single most damning sentence and tweet about the San Francisco Giants you will hear all year. Alex Pavlovich said, Giants hitters have 100 strikeouts to 18 walks over their past 9 games and have double-digit strikeouts in 5 games in a row. But please, keep Pat Burrell in his position. I mean, if there's one thing that we know about the Giants lineup is it doesn't hit for power, it doesn't hit for average, it doesn't have a good plate approach. It's the fastest 0-2 in the National League. Every single one of these hitters is buried in an 0-2 hole as soon as they get up to home plate. They've got no situational hitting ability whatsoever. They're not hitting them where they ain't. They're not hitting them over the fence. They're not hitting for power. There's not a lot of dead pull hitters. There's not a lot of opposite field hitters on this team. Just getting the ball out of the infield at times is a freaking miracle. But please keep Pat Burrell in his role as the Giants hitting instructor when you're striking out all the time, when you have zero plate discipline, when nobody can tell the difference between a ball and a strike, so they're up there swinging at garbage all the time. Please keep Pat Burrell right where he is, and then make sure Bob Melvin doesn't go anywhere, because he is scintillating right now when it comes to inspiring this team to greatness. This segment brought to you by Ike Sandwiches, The Dubliner, and Sarcasm. Fire everybody involved in this Giants season. And if you don't, what you're saying out loud is we now have lower standards than we used to have. Even though Buster Posey is here and that's supposed to be a big deal for the Giants, You're still the same bunch of looking at a problem and doing nothing to correct it almost on a daily basis group of fucking douchebags. Like, it's ridiculous how they have let Pat Burrell oversee this limp dick lineup game in, game out, series in, series out, and done nothing to change approaches or anything. It's unbelievable how much they're just cool watching this season drown in a pond. You think we should flip a life preserver in there? Nah, just doggy paddle harder. Meanwhile, while the Giants are, forever part of the limp dick crew, you got the New York Yankees hitting 9 home runs against Tampa Bay last night. 9 home runs for the New York Yankees. The Yankees aren't even having a good year anymore. They hit 9 home runs in one game. How many months does it take the Giants to hit 9 home runs? How many weeks before the Giants put up a 9 spot in that home run column? The Yankees hit 9 home runs, which ties a franchise record, which they set back in March. Remember the whole 5 minutes where we were talking about torpedo bats, and that was going to be a thing? The Yankees got torpedo bats. I guess the Giants never ordered any torpedo bats. The Yankees have hit 9 home runs twice in a single game this season for a franchise record. Meanwhile, another guy that was just dubbed, doesn't really have a position, not going to pay him, probably didn't want to come here because, 24 Willie Mays Plaza just takes a guy batting average, power average, and retards them to almost just club average levels. Kyle Schwarber, who is in a National League MVP conversation. Kyle Schwarber has now homered in 15 consecutive series for the Phillies. That ties Sammy Sosa in 98 for the second longest such streak in Major League history, behind only Mark McGwire, who homered in 20 consecutive team series back in 1996. Dead center of the steroids era. And I'm not saying that Schwarber shouldn't pee in a cup, but I also look at Kyle Schwarber and I don't see steroids. I just see a guy who's got country breakfast level strength, and he is so good. He is so good at getting that home run swing off of his. I wouldn't put shenanigans past anybody who's leading Major League Baseball in any category or doing anything that is borderline historic from a power standpoint at home plate. I'm not naive. But Kyle Schwarber hits more home runs by himself than the Giants have as a franchise. That is obviously not true and an exaggeration, but at the same time, you're nodding, going, it feels that way, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Giants and Padres continue tonight. Oh, what a joy. It's seriously, it is so boring watching the Giants right now. It's just, they're boring. They're boring. What's never boring is a scintillating history lesson. At least I hope you feel that way. It is officially time for Today in History here on the Plus. Again, let me remind you one last time that our good friend Ike has a sandwich for you ready to go with my name on it. Literally, look at me in sandwich form. There I am. Eat me. You'll be happy that you did. The Dubliner wants you to come on in and have a Guinness. You'll enjoy it. Pull yourself up a seat at the bar. Say hi to Kenny. Say hi to John. Hang out with some good, like-minded neighborhood folks and enjoy your time at the Dubliner West Portal. And again, Muni picks you up and drops you off right out front. Let's pick you up and drop you off in a little Today in History. It is Wednesday, August 20th. Happy birthday to Don King. Don King is still alive. He is 94 years old. That guy has lived an incredibly interesting life. He has made a lot of money. He has swindled people out of a lot of money. Don King, only in America, made in America. There's no doubt about it. Don King doesn't happen anywhere else but in America. God bless him. Robert Plant, 77 years old. And now really, with the death of Ozzy Osbourne, Mick Jagger is still out there. Paul McCartney is still out there. But Robert Plant, to me, is the definitive last living great frontman from the classic rock era. I mean, that Robert Plant could wail. 77 years old. America's weatherman, Al Roker, 71 years old. From Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst, 55 years old. Now Limp Bizkit, almost a nostalgia act at this point. Who would have ever thought? Actress Amy Adams, 51 years old. God, she already 51 for Amy Adams. I remember when she was in her 20s, just a handful of days ago. I mean, Amy Adams was like a young actress. Now she's 51. Okay. Andrew Garfield from The Social Network. I think he also got a bite at the Spider-Man apple, the least successful bite at the Spider-Man apple. Andrew Garfield, 42 years old, also in The Social Network, which is an outstanding movie. Now, we always try to stick along a timeline here, but one of the things to tell you about today in history happened in 1920. And happy birthday to professional football. Happy birthday to professional football. At a meeting in Canton, Ohio, the NFL was formed today on August 20th, 1920. It was called the American Professional Football Conference at first, but that's where the NFL started. Without that meeting in a car dealership in Canton, Ohio, we're not talking about Super Bowls maybe moving to London. Oh, I mean, that would be amazing if you could go back in time and just be like, hey, check this out. Look at what this becomes, fellas. You're not going to believe it. They wouldn't have believed it. Let's see. We go all the way back to year 1000. I don't know if we've ever landed on year 1000 before, but the foundation of Hungary was started today by St. Stephen. And if you're a Grateful Dead fan, you know, St. Stephen with a rose, in and out of the garden he goes. There you go, St. Stephen. Today in 1794, U.S. General Mad Anthony Wayne defeated the Northwest Indian Confederation in the Battle of the Fallen Timbers. All I can tell you is that Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I lived for a little while, was named after General Mad Anthony Wayne. There was a golf tournament called the Mad Anthony Golf Tournament where I saw John Daly hit a drive like 200 yards dead center with a putter. Like flicked a cigarette, took a sip of a beer, and with a putter drove it like 220 dead solid perfect. It was incredible. Still one of the most amazing sporting accomplishments I've ever seen with my own two eyes. John Daly with a putter is longer off the tee than you are with a one, you know, with a driver. But Mad Anthony, there you go. It's like Fort Wayne history right there. I know it doesn't mean much to you. It does to me. All right. Today in 1858, Charles Darwin published his first theory of evolution through natural selection in the Journal of the Proceedings of the Linnean Society of London. Basically, today's the day where Charles Darwin was basically like, so we might all be monkeys. How's that sit with you? Monkeys. Yeah, we are. There you go. Hairless apes today. Happy birthday, everyone involved. 1858. Chucky Darwin. As I told you, today is National Radio Day. I might have gotten romantic about that in another year, but my romance is all done. They drummed the romance right out of me. But the reason why it's National Radio Day is because today in 1920, the first ever commercial radio station, which at the time was known as 8MK, Detroit News Radiophone, now it's WWJ, which I believe is the flagship to this day of the Detroit Tigers and the Detroit Lions. That might even be the Pistons flagship. I don't know. But today, commercial radio began in Detroit in 1920. Today in 1938, Lou Gehrig hit his 23rd career Grand Slam. That was a record that would stand until 2013 when Alex Rodriguez hit his 24th career Grand Slam as a major leaguer. So there you go. Lou Gehrig. Still relevant, baby. 1977, today, NASA launched the Voyager 2 spacecraft towards the outer solar system. It's still going. Is the Voyager sending back anything to this day yet? Do we know? How's the Voyager doing? I know that the Voyager ended up being a big plot point in the first Star Trek movie, Voyager. Spoiler, sorry everybody. The bald chick says this is a god. No, it wasn't. It was a satellite. Anyway, that first Star Trek movie, like most Star Trek movies, sucked. Let's be honest. Never was a Star Trek guy. Never. Just couldn't do it. Today in 1998, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that Quebec could not legally secede from Canada without federal government approval. In other words, the whole point of succeeding from a federal government is we don't need this government no more, but Canada's like, no, in order for you to actually secede, you're going to need government approval. And Quebec was like, nah, forget it then. But there was a minute there, Quebec thought it was going to secede from Canada. And they're like, look, if you do that, we're going to end hockey night in Canada, and what are you going to do then? And then Quebec was like, oh, mon Dieu, forget it. There were a lot of French speakers there. Lot of French speakers there. Yeah, and I would say this. If you got to go Star Trek, you got to go Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. That is the good one. You're right about that. You are right about that. Got people here saying, hey, Voyager, still sending information. Oh, Corey Kiner got cut? Should be an interesting Friday with yours truly and Larry Krueger on Wake Up. Guess who just had his double or nothing on stakes bet come in? Cha-ching. I don't know, Larry, anything. He might owe me an apology. I said it was simply a numbers game. And then when that guy got hurt, the numbers game started going against him. It's too bad, though, man. I thought Corey Kiner had a little something there. Damon, you are not a Trekkie. No, exactly. I'm not a Trekkie at all. At all. Finally, today in 2017, we lost a classic, man. Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis, who didn't get nearly the embrace that I thought he deserved in his life. All the money that he raised for muscular dystrophy, and then everything that he did as a Hollywood icon. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis invented like half of the cameras that are still being used in Hollywood. Jerry Lewis was a freaking genius. He died today at the age of 91. Jerry Lewis, when my beautiful mother was famously a stewardess for American Airlines, Jerry Lewis hit all over my mom something fierce. It's a story that she likes to relay. The two most celebrities hitting on my mom of all time were Jerry Lewis and Wilt Chamberlain. I told her, I said, Mom, you had it, man. You had guys who could literally pick him out of anywhere saying, how about you? So there you go. The Duchess, by the way, turned them both down, said, no, neither one of you. So there it is. There is your show this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed hosting it for you. Thank you so much for watching. Much more coming up, including our good friend Sam Batesh joining us for a Thursday show coming up tomorrow. We will be back with a Wake Up on Friday as well, and much more coming up here. So that's why I need you to hit like, subscribe, and if you really want to go overboard, hit notify as well. Notify. Make sure that you are you're not going to miss a thing. You're not going to miss a thing that we do here. And that's what I hope you want, to not miss a thing. Joseph Ehrenberg, again, dropping a little super into the ganja jar. Hope your steak is good, Damon. Again, the steak that you don't have to buy, Krueger, might be the most delicious steak there is. I mean, the sip of the day has just been bang. I don't think I officially announced it was a sip of the day, but we had a sip of the day there. Spectacular. Almost 130 people in the room, and we don't even have 80 likes yet. That is on you to correct. I can't do anything about that other than shame you on my way out the door, saying, do a little bit better for me if you could, please. Thank you so much. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor. There is no better advertising than your word-of-mouth advertising. Telling your friends, your family, check out Damon Bruce Plus. That does an awful lot. Take this video and share it with them. Send it. Be like, check this guy out. In a world of sports douchebaggery, we found one guy who maybe ain't a douchebag. Amazing. Didn't know they were still out there. At least one is. Thank you very, very much for watching. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Like Corey Kiner. Ugh.